In the heart of a vast pine forest, a team of 4 divers embarked on an exploratory mission in a small water-filled cave called the Death Cave. As they swam through the shallow waters, their curiosity led them to a low passage. Little did they know, the soft, deep mud beneath them was a ticking time bomb. The murky waters turned pitch black, trapping them. With no way out, they were left to fight for their lives in the unknown depths. The Death Cave, which is sometimes referred to as Allen's Cave, is a small sinkhole that contains very clear water, giving it an inviting appearance. It can be found in the pine forest located east of Mount Gambier. The cave has been said to have a depth of approximately 65 feet. Upon entering the cave, divers will notice that to the west of the entrance, there is only one relatively open area. This area provides divers with a unique view of the cave's surroundings, including the big boulders and the low flat passage that extends for some distance. However, as divers venture further into the cave, they will come across a larger cavern that is filled with crystal clear water. Although this section of the cave has beautiful scenery and an unforgettable experience, the floor of the cavern is entirely covered with soft, deep mud that can easily be disturbed, leading to silting out. As a result, this can greatly reduce visibility for divers and lead to unprecedented fatality. The group of divers in this cave diving expedition includes a diverse range of ages and experience levels. The youngest among them was Ron, a 17-year-old who had been diving for approximately 18 months, along with his 18-year-old counterpart, Sandra, who had a similar level of experience. Christopher, another 17-year-old, had been honing his skills for around 2 years, making him relatively seasoned compared to Ron and Sandra. The group also included Dave, who at 39 years of age was the most experienced member of the team, having been a diver for a considerable 15 years. Despite their varying levels of experience, there was one particular area of diving in which none of them had much practice: cave diving. While all of them had significant experience in open water diving, the unique set of challenges and risks involved with cave diving was not familiar territory for the group. It was Monday, October 9, 1972, when the group of 4 divers concluded a weekend of successful club diving in other water-filled sinkholes. As they made their way back to Adelaide, a small cave caught their attention, which they had heard was approximately 65 feet deep. Despite having a long journey ahead of them, they could not resist the urge to take a quick look, and without much contemplation, they entered the water, equipped with full tanks. However, they left their safety guideline, which they usually carried in their car, behind, as they presumed they would not venture too far into the cave. Moreover, they had also been informed that there were no significant underwater extensions branching off from the main entry chamber. For the initial 5 minutes, the group swam around the shallow parts, exploring the low areas surrounding the walls. Subsequently, they swam down the western side of the primary silt mound and discovered the only relatively open area they could find. It was between some enormous boulders, 19 feet below the surface, where they stumbled upon a low, flat passage that appeared to extend quite some distance. Being the leader of the team, Dave expressed his intention to go in for a short distance to inspect the passage. He made this decision, knowing full well that he was without any guidelines to navigate through the cave's twists and turns, putting himself and the entire group at risk. Once Dave ventured into the narrow 3-foot-high and 9-foot-wide silty passage, Ron followed suit, and the rest of the group followed behind him. As they swam through the passage, they encountered several constrictions, and after traversing a distance of about 19 feet, they surfaced into a much larger cavern containing crystal clear water. At this point, Ron turned around to keep an eye on the other members, only to notice that their entry passage had become entirely clogged with silt. The movement of their bodies through the soft, deep mud on the passage floor had disturbed it, causing it to cloud the water and reduce visibility. This realization caused him to become deeply concerned, and he suggested that the group not spend much time exploring the chamber. Intending to prevent the silt from entirely obscuring their vision and blocking their exit, the group immediately started looking for an exit passage. They knew that any delay could result in an even more dangerous situation. Regrettably, their efforts to locate the exit were in vain, as they had already caused more silt disturbance during their attempt to swim back toward the entrance passage. The disturbed mud rose in a massive cloud, enveloping the entire chamber and plunging it into a darkness so complete they could not even see their torches when held up to their masks. The situation was dire, and the divers were acutely aware that their lives were at risk. Despite this, they remained focused and resolute, determined to find their way out of the silt trap. Over the next 30 minutes or so, the group continued to search desperately for the exit, but their efforts were in vain. Amid the chaos, Ron collided with another diver and managed to grasp onto him. Through the murky water, he could discern that the diver was Dave, the team leader. However, they lost contact with each other as they descended together in search of the exit. The situation was dire, and the divers knew they had to remain calm and composed if they had any chance of surviving the ordeal. As Ron desperately searched for a way out of the silt trap, he could hear the sounds of other divers nearby. He heard the tapping of an air cylinder and the distinct sound of a regulator free-flowing, but despite his efforts, he was unable to locate the source of these sounds. At one point, while trying to navigate through a narrow restriction, Ron lost his regulator. Although he was able to retrieve it, time was quickly running out, and Ron was growing increasingly anxious about his chances of survival. Despite the mounting sense of dread, Ron remained resolute and continued to search for the exit. However, as he felt his way along the walls of the cavern, he suddenly found himself struggling to inhale. Panicking, he pulled his reserve air lever, knowing that death was only moments away. But then, in a miraculous turn of events, Ron noticed a faint green light shining overhead. With renewed hope, he swam towards the light and emerged from the water, gasping for air. After informing the surface party about what had happened, Ron attempted to guide the other divers out of the silt by tapping on his cylinder, but to no avail. Despite his efforts, none of the other divers were able to find their way out in time and tragically lost their lives in the cave. On the day after the tragic incident, professional diver Mac Laurie, who happened to be a close friend of Dave, retrieved the bodies of the remaining 3 divers. The operation was extremely dangerous, and Mac used a hookah with a 5-hour air supply. He encountered several difficulties as he got stuck numerous times while he recovered the bodies of Dave, Sandra, and finally Christopher. During the recovery operation, he found Dave's body only a short distance into the cave, whereas Christopher and Sandra were discovered together in a narrow dead-end passage at the far end of the main chamber, which they might have assumed to be the exit passage. As a result of this devastating accident, the cave was eventually closed to sport diving, and it is now secured by a gated block of concrete. The incident was undoubtedly tragic, and it earned Allen's Cave the name Death Cave. However, the diver's death could have been avoided if certain measures were in place. Several contributing factors led to this unfortunate event. Firstly, the absence of guidelines, which are essential in cave diving, was a significant oversight. Secondly, the divers lacked the necessary formal training to navigate such treacherous conditions. Additionally, the absence of a redundant air supply was a crucial factor, as this could have provided the divers with the extra time they needed to escape the cave. Poor silt management was another contributing factor, as the divers stirred up the silt, causing it to cloud the water and obscure their vision. Finally, the divers had no understanding or appreciation of the hazards associated with cave diving, which is a highly specialized and dangerous activity that requires proper preparation and equipment. We would like to thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed watching, take a dive on the like and subscribe buttons and hit the bell icon so you get notified when we come back with another exciting cave diving story.